Remember that image. It is rare. 6 world powers, friends and foes to Iran, all on the same page. Their protracted 12-year effort to curtail Iran's nuclear program enshrined today in 109 pages. A deal that will end a decade of sanctions on Iran and decades of isolation.
Today could have been the end of hope on this issue, but now we are starting a new chapter of hope.
The agreement requires Iran to reduce its enriched uranium stockpile by 98%, allow inspections, including at military sites, answer questions about past nuclear acts.
A historic deal, one that the key players here say will limit the threat from a nuclear Iran.
Today is an historic day.
It was Iran's foreign minister and the most senior EU foreign policy official who announced the deal that was finally sealed after intense negotiations in the early hours of the morning.
We are reaching an agreement that is not perfect for anybody, but it is what we could accomplish, and it is an important achievement for all of us.
It is a decision that can open the way to a new chapter in international relations and show that diplomacy, coordination, cooperation can overcome decades of tensions and confrontations. I think this is a sign of hope for the entire world, and we all know that this is very much needed in these times.
The U.S. administration appears to believe that imposing illegal draconian sanctions on Iran will bring about such pain to our nation that it will force us to submit to its will, no matter how absurd, unlawful, or fundamentally flawed its demands are. We have weathered difficult times in the face of 40 years of American hostility, relying solely on our own resources. And today, we and our partners across the globe will ensure that our people are least affected by this indiscriminate assault in the economic warfare that directly targets the Iranian people, notwithstanding hypocritical claims by the Trump administration to the contrary.
November 29 is the date of a new round of the Iranian nuclear deal discussions between Iran and the West. Will the West lift sanctions off of Iran? Will Iran and the West sign a new nuclear deal? What is the status on the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Iran? And is it true that there is negotiations under the table between Riyadh and Tehran? Will there be a war between the Israeli occupation and Iran, a regional war? And will the political tension convert into a military conflict? All these topics, Stephen Sahiounie from Mideast Discourse interviews Iranian Dr. Hadi Issa Dalloul, international law and nuclear physical consulate. What is the status on the negotiation, and will we see Iran and the West signing a new deal?
Hi. This session will be, I think, the last session. I don't think will be any extension for this meeting. If United States or any of the 5+1 will not get a confirmation that the shameful practice actions taken by President Donald Trump will not be repeated by President Biden or any other president will enter the White House in the next coming American elections, then nothing will be done. A new deal will not be there, as we agreed in 2015 from Lausanne to Geneva in 90 days, that we confirmed for 82 towns registered under the United Nations under the resolution number 2231, which it goes for the percentage of enrichment, quantity of enrichment, and disabling Iraq reactor for the heavy water, deuterium, especially for Natanz and Fordo, that it will go for a research center for Fordo, and it will not be published before 24 years from that date. Yani about today we are around 6 years from that. It should be around 18 or 12, 19 years more. Then it will be reestablished again. Nothing for the military system, the defense military system in Iran, been mentioned from the agreement. Just one term, it was on the side of the agreement, which it is that will develop one of our ballistic program, that it may be capable and designed to carry a nuclear warhead. And because we don't have a warhead, nuclear warhead, so it is not mentioned in the agreement. This is the only term in the 154 pages that we agreed under the 2231. This session, if they will not come back with confirmation that the releasing of all the sanctions will be confirmed, and what they agreed with Mrs. Mogherini in 2019, which it is related with the first step to bypass the sanctions of the America, which it is the instrument in support of trade exchange, the INSTEX. And after that, they confirm again, because the INSTEX doesn't work, they came back with the SPV, Special Proposed Vehicle, and either Special Proposed Vehicle doesn't work. So we need to confirm that the shameful practice will not be repeated from Europe or from America. If that will not be confirmed with guarantee, and the guarantee must be applied with Iran this time, not through the United Nations, then we can go ahead to restart the negotiations, which 2015. But nothing will be rechanged or adding any files or any terms and conditions to the agreement. The only point which it is related with the guarantee that we ask to apply this point in the agreement. But from the other side, they are not allowed to any terms and conditions that can be added or changed, or any word will be moved from right to left or left to right.
The Zionist lobby in the United States, like AIPAC and others, are pressuring the White House and pressuring the American foreign policy to not do and not renew a new Iranian nuclear deal. Will President Joe Biden bow down to these pressure by the lobby, the Israeli lobby, like AIPAC and others, or he will ignore them and he will do the nuclear deal with Tehran?
To answer this question, we need to go deeply in the intention of both parties, the Israelis and the Jew in the United States. The issues against Iran with the nuclear program, it's split with two units. The first unit, which it is conflicting with the targets of the Israelis, and the second point, which it is reflected with the Jew. The first point for Israeli, that they are afraid that we, for the development of the nuclear program in a stage that we can enhance the military defense program and the ballistic program, that it can attack Israel from Iran or either by the hand of Hezbollah. That's why they need to block the enhancement of the Iranian program. The other side, which it is more sensitive for the Jew, which it is the medical enhancement. For the laboratory in Tehran University, we are working right now in multiple channels. One of the channels which it is related for the treatment of the cancer. And if we get a treatment for the cancer instead of the chemotherapy, it seems the companies that they are producing the chemotherapy over there and they are producing the cancer to resell the chemotherapy, they will witness to down for it, because there will not be any retail for that. That's why it's our enemy. We are their enemy. The second channel, which it is related with the space exploration. The space exploration, which it is reflected with NASA. Most of the information that we are getting from the space, which it is through NASA. So if we go ahead for more than 100 kilometers above the atmosphere, and we start installing the satellites and the exploration in the space, what kind of information that we can find it fake related with NASA? That's why they need to block us from getting outside the atmosphere and see what they are doing outside. International Space Station, what they are doing over there. If we get a satellite and by chance we get some pictures of some reflections that would give information what they are doing in the International Space Station, this is dangerous for NASA. That's why they need to block us from going outside the atmosphere. This is the second. The third, which it is the viruses. We are working on virus corona. COVID-19, we done a lot of experiments on it, and we passed for Barakat and vaccination, and it's really effective. So these three channels are reflected and conflicting with the Jew and the military for the Israeli. And because the United Nations cannot accept what they are talking about from Israel, and Israel cannot talk about with the military, and America, Jew exactly cannot talk about, which it is related with medical treatment and the space exploration, they cannot get Iran guilty because they are making exploration researches and medical enhancements. So they are acting because Iran is going for a military warhead. This is the point that they are trying to spot on. Now, these negotiations, if we not get an affirmative results and confirmative points, and the Iranian people will feel happy with it, and we will feel happy with it, and keep the honor of the Iran or on the first stage, we will not go for the next agreement. They can cancel everything, and we will continue in our enrichment. Now almost we are on a blueprint for the RI-10, the centrifuge unit, which it is Iranian made. And we are going ahead with the 12th and 13th. Inshallah, we will not stop. However, we need a target for an enrichment. We will go ahead with it. Now we are almost behind the corner of 70% enrichment of uranium-235. And each step that we are taking in our laboratories, it's related with a civil technical program, not a military program. If they will understand it, that's fine. If they will not, it's up to them. Nothing they can do. United Nations board is opened. The council is open because China and Russia outside of the vote. The only choice that they have, they can come ahead to the Persian Gulf and make a war with us. If they are ready for it, we are ready. But I think they will not, because for the last 3-4 years, they are raising the issue for the war, and the war is not coming because they are low power of it, and they are weak enough to get in conflict with us. Finally, we will get ahead with it. If they will not, we will keep ethically with the non-proliferation treaty, which we signed it from time before, either before the Islamic Republic when it was a kingdom of Iran with Muhammad Pahlavi, which it is that we will not go one day and build up a blueprint or either for experiment for nuclear warhead. This is the main subject that will keep it hot on the corner. But other points, everything will be cancelled, and we will work as we are, and they can do what they want.
News reports say that there is negotiation between Saudi Arabia and Islamic Republic of Iran. Are these reports correct? And if so, what is the status on this negotiation? And will we see in the near future the tension between Iran and Saudi Arabia and all of the monarchies in the Arab monarchies in the Persian Gulf decrease?
Always we are looking for our brothers and behind the west coast of the Persian Gulf as our brothers. And one day United States and Israel and some of Europe countries get them as hostages. Hostages, an investment wave or a political wave or either a culture wave. The culture wave that they block their think and their thoughts and their reflections to get and meet the requirements of the United States, and that's what they get the goals to release all the natural resources of the oil and gas on the west coast of the Persian Gulf to be released under the documents to the United States in state of the defense and selling their weapons, which they will not use it just to keep their black mirror, the black mirror thoughts behind, because of Iran at the other side. Those issues always we are keeping in mind, and we are working on it. We are trying all the way we are trying all the way to keep Saudi Arabia and Emirates and Bahrain, especially after Qatar goes ahead behind the neutral position right now for the last 3 years. Those three countries, we are always working to keep them behind, to not get any relation between them and Israel, and we are sorry that we lose Emirates. We are trying the best for Saudi Arabia, and always we are telling them, if the door negotiations opened for Europe and America to come back and sit on the round table and negotiate, for the Arab, it's open 100 times. We are always looking forward to give what they need from our blood, from our veins, blood of the veins, but do not give a chance for any Israeli to come inside Mecca and do what they are doing in Jerusalem. That's why we are always giving hand support, and we are pushing ahead for Saudi Arabia. Come back and sit to us. We are ready to give you everything. Just come and sit with me on the table. But alone, as a brotherhood, Arabs and Persian, Muslims behind this table, but without American and without Israeli. If they are, and we hope one day we will success this point, and we will sit together, and we will try to get again the Islamic family together.
There is high tension between the Israeli occupation and the Islamic Republic of Iran in several areas in the region. Will this political tension escalate to a military conflict? And will the United States support and stand with Iran if the Israeli occupation do a stupid move or ignorant move, a decision like that?
Israel cannot go ahead with a move that it should has gone with the military, because they are alone. And that's what we was working for the last 10 years before, to keep Israel alone, to split it from the United Nations. And that's what started from Syria, to split Russia and China from the vote of the Council. Once Russia and Russia and China are there in the vote, so the 5+1 are together, and America can take a decision. And America will be pushed from Israel, so as it is in Libya, as it is in Egypt, as it is in Iraq, as it is in most of the countries that they play monopoly in it, it can pass. But once the 5+1, they are splitted, America cannot take a vote. And once they cannot take a vote, then they will take it under their responsibility, and America will not do it under their responsibility, because all the European region will escape. That's what we saw in Syria in 2020 and 1920. 2012. So Israel cannot face us military-wise, either. If there is a partner, they can fight with it. That's why they are trying to get some of their partners to fight in it. If it's not America, maybe it's Europe, or some of the communities that they are behind the corners in Syria and Lebanon. But to face us face to face, Israel will not, because they are less than they can stand in front of us and fight.
As news reports coming out that there is tension on the Azerbaijani-Iranian border, is the Israeli occupation using Azerbaijan to cause chaos on the north border of Iran with Azerbaijan? And what is the benefit for the Azerbaijan to be in tension with Iran, and they just came out their country with a war with Armenia?
Yes, it is the hand, the left hand of Israel and Azerbaijan. That's right. Once it is on a border of the east border of the Islamic Republic, they can find something just to make a conflict on the borders. So maybe either if the war failed, who is the loser? The Azerbaijans, not the Israeli. So yes, as I told you in the last question, Israel, any channel will find to fight with us indirectly behind the corner. They will not keep it behind, but to not get the flag of Israel in front of the line, to get the fight with military conflict. Cyber-wise, yes, they can do it. By partners, they can do it. But face-to-face, Israel is less than the point that they can stand only and stand in front of us to fight with us.